This is Richard Wolff from Democracy at Work with another Wolff Responds. This time I'm responding to something called the World Inequality Report of 2022. It is a regular report issued by the group known for two of its researchers, Thomas Piketty and Emmanuel Saez, but a group that has grown much larger, for which I am grateful. And this report has four names attached to it, the two I've mentioned, plus Lucas Chancel and Gabrielle Zuckman. If you're at all interested in the latest up-to-date detailed statistics on the inequalities of income and wealth around the world, between countries, inside countries, and so on, this is the report you need to get. It was released on December 12th, 2021. It is available on the internet. It is worth the perusal of anyone interested in these numbers. I'm one of those, and I want to share my response with all of you. Okay, let's begin with the key point of it all. The capitalist system that we are living under replaced other earlier systems, feudalism in some cases, slavery in some cases, individual self-employment in still other cases, and so on. But over the last 350 years, capitalism moved from its origins in what we now refer to as Great Britain, spreading from there to North America, Western Europe, and eventually the whole world. That is, the arrangement of production so that a small group of people called employers make all the key production decisions and dictate what to do to the vast majority called employees, whose only real freedom consists in quitting one employer and going to work for another. Under these circumstances, the spread of capitalism from Britain to the whole rest of the world, a process that took 3 centuries, has produced some clear, identifiable results. And one of them is summarized by the World Inequality Report for 2022. We live in an extraordinarily unequal society. If the phrase capitalism delivers is to have any substance, then one of the things it delivers, and oh, does it deliver it, is inequality. One of the virtues of this report is to show that over the last 2 or 3 centuries, the spread of capitalism across the world, usually through the medium of colonialism and imperialism, has brought stunning worsening of inequalities that existed before, but that capitalism has made worse. Let me give you just a couple of the data, the statistics that you will find useful in this report. The bottom 50% of the people of this planet have little or no income and even less wealth. The numbers are truly stunning. Let's start with income, the flow of money, of wealth that you get on an annual basis flowing into your hands. The poorest 50% got in 2021, the last year we have records of, under 10%. So let me be clear. Half of the people of this planet got to share about 8.5% of all the income there was to be had. In contrast, the richest 10% were able to get into their hands 52% of the total income. The middle 40%, that is, they earn more than the bottom half, but less than the top 10%, that 40% got about 40% of the income. What you might say they were entitled to, being 40% of the people, they got 40% of the income. But on either side of them, wow, 50% of the people shared 8.5% of the income. 10% of the people took in 52% of the income. And it only gets worse when we look not at the flow of income into people each year, but the wealth they've accumulated. Not how much they earn, how much they own. And here we go. The bottom half of our planet together owns 2% of the wealth. Let me do that again. 50% of us own 2% of the wealth. The middle doesn't own much. So we have to jump to the top. The top 10% own, get ready, 76% of the world's wealth. Okay, I could go on, but I don't need to. Neither do you. We have established that capitalism is a system that produces, sustains, and protects colossal inequality of income and wealth. And now I'm briefly going to list what some of the consequences are of inequalities of income and wealth of that magnitude. The poorest among us are the ones who have the most diseases, including those that are curable. The poorest among us die at early ages from diseases and aging processes that wealthy people simply do not. This kind of inequality kills many millions of people every year relentlessly. It shortens lives. It ends lives. It cuts off the opportunity to live a life, to have a family, to go to school, to be productive. The cost to all of us of the devastation wrought by this inequality shows you how shallow it is when we listen to propagandists telling us about how, when revolutions finally happened in the past and ended systems like this, there was violence. Yes, there was. But it doesn't compare in the horror and the relentlessness and the many, many decades during which it persisted of the violence done by a capitalism that generates this amount of inequality. Final point. For those of you interested in democracy, in a system in which individuals have equal rights to shape the politics of their communities, to make the big decisions together, inequality like this makes a joke, a mockery of democracy. Those with wealth like this would never allow a democracy precisely because in a democracy, the majority who are poor would be making decisions that frighten the rich So they make sure that democracy is a formality whose real content they can and they do buy. This inequality will not go away. It has overcome every program to date intended to undo it, to reduce it. Doesn't work. Even if for a short time, it is then undone, much as the last 40 years undid the reduction in inequality that was achieved in the 1930s and 40s. Make no mistake, capitalism is the problem, and a different system that does not allow a minority of people to be employers lording it over a majority. System change is the solution because the system is the problem. If analyses like these strike you as worthwhile, as deserving to be part of the national conversation about our economy and about doing better than we are doing now, then we ask you to partner with us. Share this video. Talk about what is being said here. Take a look at the document being referred to. We need your help. We need your partnership. We also need your financial support if that is something you can do. In any case, thank you for watching. Thank you for your partnership. And I look forward, as I say on my program, to speaking with you again soon.